In this class, each module we have one lab exercise and one assignment. In the lab exercise, we will have some Jupyter notebook file to ask you to practice the syntax for the comment we talk about in the class. So here I will show you how to download the lab exercise file, complete that on the Jupyter notebook, and run each code block. Then save your result as HTML page and submit your work. So please pay attention on this video. In the lab exercise 2 and the following lab exercise, if we have any work want you to complete by the Jupyter notebook, not only you implement your code in the Jupyter notebook, but you don't have to submit your Jupyter notebook file. Instead, we only accept the HTML pages. So let's see here how we will do that. For example, in lab exercise 2, we have 4 small exercises you will do. So we will work on the tuples, list, stat, and the dictionary. So then each one you need to download the file. So we see, for example, we do the tuples. So you will download your tuples file. So after you download your tuples file, of course, I will assume you already open your Jupyter notebook. So after you open your Jupyter notebook, so of course, they will show you, you will be on your web browser, and they will show you the directory. So let's go back to see where I download. So since I download that, my file will be under the download. So please open the file. So after you open the Jupyter notebook file, you will see that already have many information in there. So I want you to not only practice the exercise and also make sure you will read through the information. So the Jupyter notebook file, I refer to the IBM certificate about the Python, data science for Python. So that's why they have some useful and very handy lab exercise for you to work on that. So I want you to go over each one. So you can see here in the Jupyter notebook, if they are not for the code, you will see they are using the markdown. So the markdown here, if you want to go to see the code, there will be some HTML syntax. So that's why you can download the file in the HTML page. So then we can view it in any web browser. But one thing is, for those markdown, if you want to show beginning, even if you already show in the code, now you want to do the markdown again, they won't display correctly. So then you need to choose markdown, then run again. So that's why here you will see like the HTML page format. So on the other hand, of course, if you want to change, for example, if I want you to have each file have your student name in there, if you want to modify that, you need to change become code. So then after they become code, then you will see they become the HTML page. So that's why here you can write down your student name. So after you put the student name, here is the code, right? If you want to see the HTML page format, you need to back to the markdown. So then you run again, okay? So that's why you will see the student name. Oh, here we change back. Okay, so let me change it back. So we'll have the student name there. Okay, so in the HTML page, if you want to have a new line, you will just using the angle bracket and BR and the student name. Okay, so then of course you can add the student ID. Okay, but here that's how you modify your code. But when you want to run to see the HTML page format, you need to run. I have to change the markdown and run again. So that's why the next one I need to change back to the markdown. So I want you to not only work on each code block to try, but also make sure you will read through the information. In the lab exercise file, they have many useful information. So then you can see here, they will give you example to show. So one thing is, I want to make sure you will run each one. You see here, we introduce the tuples. So they told you how to create a tuple. But I don't want you to just view like that. You need to check to run the result. So that's why after you define your tuple 1, so then you run. So that's why you will see in your Jupyter notebook, they will have the output display here. So please make sure you will read through one by one and run the code block one by one. Make sure you understand and run through each code block. So after you're done, I just assume everything you go through, you're done. So they give you many examples. You see, that's also not only the lab exercise, will be a very good your handout you can refer to prepare for your final. Or in the future, you want to see on the tuple content, that's also a good reference. So after you have those content, they show you one by one for each topic. You have the nested tuple, you have the slicing tuple. And also after you go through each code block one by one, they also give you a small quiz. Okay, so that's why here is a small quiz. Not only they ask you to have the sample tuple, you see they will ask you to write down your code below to execute. So here they ask you, they want to find the length of the tuple of the generous tuple. So that's why you just need to write down your answer. So we use the length, right? So then you have your generous tuples. Okay, so that's why here you will just, after you're done, you just run. So that's why you see, if you have anything wrong, they will show you. So you see here, because they say the generous tuple is not defined. Why? Because one thing is, remember, even you want to try this one, you need to make sure if you didn't run the previous code block, they don't know your generous tuple is defined. So that's why here we need to run this one first. So that's why we did create and declare the generous tuple. So then when you check your answer here, you will run again, right? So you have your length display. So sometimes you see here you have your answer correct, that will be very good. They will check your answer is correct. And also sometimes during the quiz, if you are not sure how to do that, you have any error, make sure you check the error message. And also you see here, if you don't know how to write that, you also can click here to see the result for the solution. So that's what I want you to do for each lab exercise. Make sure you go through the content for the reading pages. And then for each code block, make sure you will run. How do I know you run or not? Because they will have the output. They will have out. So I will see you are run each code block. So after you're done, you don't submit this Jupyter notebook file. Instead, I want you to download as the HTML page. So after you finish all your work, please go to the file. Then you will see download as, so HTML page. So then you will save and download to the HTML page. So for me, you will see here, they will save in the download. So then I want you to upload this HTML file to your assignment page. So that's what we want you to do for this lab exercise. So the reason for HTML page, we can view in anywhere from the browser. So that's why after you have your download, have your HTML page, right? So then we go back to see your assignment, okay? So that's why you will see your lab exercise. You have 4 Jupyter notebook file need to go over. So after you finish each one, you will save as HTML page. So for your submission, I want you to, after completing each lab exercise, download as HTML page. So how many lab exercise, how many HTML page you will be submit. So here is the example. After you download your HTML page, I want to see your student name and student ID is there. Then I open the HTML page. I will see you did run each code block, you have your output. So that's how you will complete your lab exercise.